Okay, so this is now the first demonstration that Mia is going to be doing of the notice of limited appearance that was initially worked on by Sinead and Fionola. So when they transitioned of the project, they left this in a certain state, and Mia has picked it up, and she's going to be showing us now what she has done with it. Over to you, Mia. Is my noise gone?
Talking on mute. That's okay. Okay, so I added this up top so that it says this every time for a notice of limited appearance. I don't know if that is the correct language, but I can change that if that is an issue.
Am I unmuted? Am I muted? Unmuted. Unmuted.
No,
so
you're not.
You're not asking the court for anything. You're
Okay.
just, and remember, this is for attorneys. So just say filing a notice of limited. I think you just, instead of ask the court for it, just say filing, because you can do that, right? We just have the interview variable, right? You can just put that in there.
Okay. And then this is just basically, okay, so here, this is now a kickout screen. So you can have, like the link to the certification or the training, and then if you say no, you see the same information. You get that same link. Any comments?
Did you miss the memo? What? What memo?
Caroline's laugh.
A little snarky, I think. Maybe it's American.
I thought so too.
Mia, you got my edits for this, right?
Not for this one, but for.
Oh, I
for the
sent you an
second
edit. I said I was being sarcastic on this one. Yeah.
Okay. There were two of them. Yeah, there is another one too. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
can you just go back to the previous one? Because I think I sent you edits on that as well.
it's for the next one is this one. Oh, wait. No. There's another kickout screen that comes later. It's not right here. But the next one, it has a different language on it, not the did you miss your mom?
Okay.
Yeah, no, so yeah, there's another one, but if you go to the one that you got to from this one, I was suggesting that you also, so this is actually two things, right? It's you've completed the session and you've done this signed agreement with the client. So
yeah, that comes later. This is the first certification.
okay. But you realize you're certifying two things here. I think that maybe there's a.
I certify that
the
I've
language
completed
thing.
an approved
Okay.
LAR and that I have signed a written agreement.
So
Yeah,
this needs to go. That second language needs to go because that one's coming later because we added that. Okay, I see.
Oh, I see, in a different place, in a
So
different.
I just didn't delete this part of it.
Okay.
So that's an issue.
So then perhaps, do you want to be more specific in the heading as well? If there's going to be two certifications, with one
LAR
certification
certification?
yeah.
Okay.
I realize we're getting into language.
Well, but it's also structure.
Yeah, it is.
So-
You're right. You're right, Caroline. Try shoehorning it to that.
Wait, what would I put here then?
I
Sorry
did
to ask
send
the
you the
language
edit for this.
question, everybody.
I'm not, sorry, Mia, I'm not sure in which way I communicated with you, whether it was through a GitHub issue or whether it was through Slack, but I knew this wouldn't go. So I actually sent you language for this screen. I'm just not sure where it is.
It wasn't for this screen.
It was definitely for this screen.
Okay.
Because I knew that did you miss the memo was not going to go over.
Okay. I'll find that.
Was there, maybe was there two? Did you miss the memo?
No, there was only one.
Okay.
Trying to be,
I
I was trying to be friendly, but maybe it wasn't taken the right way.
So
Okay.
notice so this is, will your client be able to sign? You If you say no, you just won't be asked for the client's signature, and you can still print the form. And if you say yes, you will be asked for like the signature flow for the client, and you'll be able to text the link to the client. Which one do we want to see? We want to text the link?
Yeah, let's try that. But I'm just thinking, do you want to maybe give the attorney more information about what will happen if you click in yes or no? Or do you think that's clear from the paragraph above?
Could add in, they can sign on a phone or a computer, maybe.
Okay. They can't sign on the computer right now. They can only do phone.
It's okay. They will be able to. So the
Okay.
language can be there. We won't send it out without that. But will your client be able to sign it right after you finish, I think is the question, right? Not like, will they ever be able to sign it? Like, are they available to sign it right now?
Oh, this is the language that we had an issue with. Well, not an issue with. We kind of covered this in the marriage without delay. With the partner being, you know, are you with your wife, or are you with your partner?
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't need to be. They don't need to be physically there, and we can change it for that one too. For the client here, it's just, can they sign it now? Right. That was my understanding. Like, can they sign it now?
Okay.
Like there's a difference between, like, it can be like, are they here to sign it, or like, will they be signing it on a different device? But we could have a question that just says, I mean, do we need this person to be able to sign it? This is my question. Does the client need to be able to sign it right when the attorney signs it? Is that what we're asking? Or are we asking whether the client will ever be able to sign it?
I mean,
Electronically. We're asking
Yeah.
if the client.
it can be. I mean, there's no automatic way. It's not DocuSign, right? We didn't recreate all of DocuSign, so there's no like notification when it's been signed right now. Although I think maybe your signature flow adds that, but there's no reason it can't be a couple days later.
It can't. So the question is, it's not time sensitive. The signature is what I'm saying, right?
It doesn't have to be now.
No, it doesn't have to.
Okay, so I think we can do a different, I don't think this question needs to be here. I mean, it can be, but like, I guess just.
Well, you have to ask a question somewhere that says, are you going to send this link? Oh, I see. Instead of having a yes, no, you just get to the point and say, do you want to send this to your client now to sign or not? Is that what?
You'd have a question that was like, is your client here, or do you want to send it to them? And then you have a question, email or text. And it doesn't go, will your client be able to do it later on in the interview? It just says like,
well, it's accomplishing the same purpose, so that you know whether you're going to actually get an electronic signature, or whether you're going to skip the question for an electronic signature.
I think Caroline has the right question, because I can see a lot of scenarios where they don't want to use our tool to get the signature.
Sure,
they're going to print it, get a wet signature. They're going to use DocuSign that's integrated with their case management system. So it has to be phrased in that sense, like, do you intend to use our tool to sign it, is I think the key.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I also think this is out of like place I think this is the wrong time for this question. I think that comes at the end where you go,
you're actually signing it.
To sign it with our system? Are you going to sign both on the same device? Do you want to?
So it just goes in a different order. Change the language of the question and move the question closer towards the end. So when you're ready to get your client to sign it, you ask it.
Mia, you said in the past that there was an issue where they had discussed this and chosen to put this earlier. Is that the case, or?
That was one of the issues on GitHub had said to put this earlier. Sorry.
I think I remember that discussion too. Yeah. And I think the context is the idea that people don't know what the tool can do. So it might, if they want, so it really applies to every interview we have, and we should think about how can we get that information to everybody, so they know that at some point they can deliver it to someone who's not with them to get a signature. So they know whether to keep going through the tool or not.
Okay.
I think that does make sense, but it's not specific to this interview, really.
This is something that we want to kind of do on a cover page, or prior to them starting the interview, perhaps saying this is what the tool can do.
Right. And I can see why it came up with this one first, because we know it's always going to be used by someone who's
attorneys.
not in the same room as the person who's signing it.
Right.
So it's like a really important feature for that use case.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'll change the language and I'll move the question order.
Perfect.
Okay. So if I say yes, it just asks the questions in the order that it's supposed to. So this is a basic question. The docket numbers. I believe is this now a basic question, or
I think it is, yeah.
it is now?
If you just
We
click on source,
haven't changed it, but it is a basic question.
Delete. What is this?
Oh, is this the source? Yeah, this is the source for this.
I think
So
you
what is
press
that?
source.
no, I asked it to press source. Just I was wanting to see if this is pulling in from basic
Oh,
questions or
that's
not.
just the.
When you do a list collect, this does kind of show a lot of irrelevant stuff.
Oh, so wait, is that not a basic question then?
Doesn't actually tell us, does it? Sometimes I think it's still incorrect.
Weird.
But let's see. Can we look at the question again?
Oh, sorry. This one.
No, not down.
Look at
Go
this
down.
case. I don't know if this is a basic one or not. I don't remember that exact phrasing. What is the docket number for this case?
I think it is a basic.
It might be.
Yeah. We can look at the code quickly if you wanted, right?
Yeah, in the playground or here.
There it is. Basic questions right there.
No, that's talking about
That's
the
the
next thing, the
court
objects.
emails.
Oh, is it? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I've found that usually when it doesn't have a file name, it's in the current file.
Yeah.
Oh,
So this is,
Is
I think, custom.
okay.
okay.
They did a lot. They did a lot of copy paste from basic questions,
Mm.
if I recall.
Oh, I
correctly.
see. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
because it was a unique situation where the user was going to be the attorney and the Okay, so then is this something that we just need to bear in mind that if we do change docket number questions, that this is going to be one that I don't know.
Well, can we just change the playground right now and just put the variable docket number in there now, right? Unless they've changed variable names?
Well,
That's
because
a
I think
you just want to go off book here.
Well, the interface we discussed was having a text field for docket numbers.
Right. Yeah.
Since if this is a PDF, they can't expand it forever.
Okay, whatever.
I mean, a
I'm
text
just thinking
area.
if you do a basic question, then yeah. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
so. Should I continue? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it should go into issues. What we're gonna do about the docket number.
Okay, add an
That's
issue.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And then maybe put Caroline's suggestion of just changing it. But I'm just a bit cautious about changing it now, and then the interview something happens, you know. So maybe we just add it as an issue, and then we can deal with it after the demo.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making a note of that. Okay. Then name. I believe this is a basic question. Actually, I'm unsure.
No, I don't. Oh, maybe it is.
Yeah, because the question came to be asked. That's telling you it's coming from, I don't know. It seems to me.
I'm telling you what I suspect it's in this file.
Okay.
We can interrogate whether this is a basic question or not, but I'm not sure what that's getting us right now.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Who are the parties? So, any comments?
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
And then you choose which one you're representing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it auto-populates like that, like it chooses that for the final form.
Oh, here's your
So
written agreement.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Right.
And
Oh, good. Oh, this is, yeah. Okay. Right.
Can the other one be here too, or not?
The other certification question.
Yeah.
I think they should all be in a row, but I don't like.
So the reason, okay, so look, the reason that this question should actually be closer to the beginning is because these, if you don't certify it, then you need to be kicked out. That's why these questions should go, if you haven't done the, if you can't certify, then you shouldn't be filing, you can't file a notice of limited appearance.
So the thing, but not all of these questions can be there then, because it says I have signed and John Doe did sign. So
Wait, can you go back? I'm not quite sure what you're saying. So what you need to do is check all of those boxes. And this is where you can do all false, all true, you know, you do a dictionary.
Yeah, so if you do less than all of them, you get kicked out.
Right.
And then
okay, so you have to, right, you have to certify that you signed it, even though
You've done every one of those things. That's right.
Seems like it's asking for a lot more than the form.
No, that's all. It's one sentence in the form. But those are,
I'm looking at the form. It asks, I don't see it.
it says, okay, it's in the very beginning. It may be,
I think this is going beyond the form.
I
It's
think-
kind of looking at the rule.
oh, right. But I think it says what limited representation is.
I certify that I've completed and approved LAR information session is required. There was the one we did earlier.
It's the I think what it is it's explaining what as required is.
Yeah, but I mean, this is for lawyers.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I would get rid of the question.
All right.
I mean, honestly, because when it comes down to me as a lawyer, this form's a pain. I do it a lot.
Okay, you just want
I'm
to
gonna
do
use this
okay.
easier than not.
Okay.
So it's the same thing
Go
you're
with you.
saying, like
You're
less clicks.
you're a legitimate user in this case.
Yeah, because
Your
I mean, this form
feedback-
is a pain, but like,
Does
more
the LAR
questions.
rule require a separate retainer? Because I'm thinking aren't a lot of these
It
in the
says it
form
does. It says
requested?
it's its own agreement. You have to do its own agreement.
that's how I read it.
You read it as a separate retainer. Okay.
Yeah.
So you would just
Separate
remove
than the
these checks.
certification.
bye, Eric.
Because
Oh, he might be gone already.
the important thing is that you've been really clear with your client about what you can and cannot do.
Right, but it's on the attorney to, I mean, I think we give the language on the form.
Yeah,
Just
no,
have
I
one
was just
certification.
addressing the separate retainer idea. That's all.
So Kate, what are you suggesting that we make one certification with both of those things incorporated into one?
Yeah, I think we give the
Make one screen?
certification, the attorney certification, one question, yes, no.
And that's the one that Mia
Your
did
screen is
right up
now?
at the
Yeah,
beginning.
that's the first screen.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
So I can just get rid
No,
of
no,
it.
the first screen was you've done the training. This, I
But-
think, is
No,
I
no,
like
there's a
the-
certification. There's a certification. You
certification.
I
certified.
hadn't deleted it yet.
So
Yeah,
I guess
you
I'll get rid of the separate training question. I would make all these certifications just one question.
one certification
No.
because that's what it is on the form.
Right.
There's
And as
another
Kate said, you're putting it on the attorney, right?
Yeah.
The attorney is supposed to
Right.
know and
Yeah.
It's not on us if they don't do a separate
You
retainer.
could provide a link in the text that says you can see more, like,
We do. I think it's
Details.
oh no,
there.
it's only at the kick-out screen though. So maybe we can incorporate that
Oh, I see.
as a kick-out screen. So if you don't certify, and then also perhaps just in the there.
So
I love this
for me,
language.
Well, this is this what you wanted me to say then, Caroline, for the first one?
No.
Okay.
No, that's
That
the,
was the
that's what
alternative
you're saying the
language.
kick out screen is, but that's what Michelle is suggesting. Just put
Just the link.
put this link in.
but as opposed
Oh,
to
did you miss the rule? Yeah, that was the one I was talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I had did you miss the memo here?
Yeah, that was did you miss the rule? Yeah, that was to replace did you miss the memo? That's right.
So what we're saying is we can have this as a kick-out screen because if they don't certify and they press next, they need to get kicked out. And
Right.
we can have, just to cover ourselves, we can have just, as Kate suggested, one screen with a certification and perhaps a link that puts the onus on them to just, if they're not sure, check on the link.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Can
would
I suggest we make it work like the certification of perjury? Like that you understand that you're signing under the pains of
Oh, the penalties of perjury and then
So
the
rather than a
penalties of
kick-out
perjury.
screen, you just can't continue until you agree.
Okay.
That sounds great. I like it.
Well,
So that's
just
also
Mia,
like in the
that?
accepting
all-
terms and use, right? That's like that screen as
Right.
well.
The same as this terms of use, exactly.
you got that, Mia?
no.
So the same as the basic questions.
Wait, just wait.
One
Just
person.
wait.
Oh, sure.
Because Mia is the person who's trying to do this, okay?
No one's going to speak.
No, well, we need Mia.
She
Mia,
said
you
she
need to-
didn't understand. She said she didn't understand, so we were explaining, and someone can explain. I will mute.
Okay, so basically what we're saying is we don't have a kickout screen. Instead, what we're going to have is similar to the terms of use screen, where you can't proceed if you don't check.
Yep.
So then, and we can keep that link that is on this screen on the certification screen.
Okay.
Putting the onus on the attorney to try and, so, and as Kate said, as an attorney, you want as few clicks as possible. The form, you just want to get through it. You don't want to have to go through all these extra screens. So I think that that's a very valid user feedback that we've got over there.
A real user, yeah. And also, I think that first question, that's attorney certification, you can keep that. You just have to have the checkbox there. And you don't have to do any of this extra stuff except incorporate this link on that screen.
On the first screen?
Yeah.
The attorney certification screen.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. All right. Is that it?
Yeah. That's my fault, Mia, for taking you down the garden path with doing all these things. Sorry.
It's okay. Okay, so then
It was a beautiful path.
then
I'm thinking of all the lawyers who don't actually know what they're doing.
get the interpretive question.
So this is a personalized or customized interpretive question that you haven't changed since they've done anything, right? That was accepted on the last demo.
Yeah.
So should I change this back to the other one? Oh,
No.
Oh, right.
I was just saying that you haven't done
We might
anything.
be able to, just as a note, I know it's not for this, but we might be able to do a user zero or a user's needs an interpreter and a client's needs an interpreter question.
Oh, for basic questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. Then for this one, I haven't touched this at all. I believe this works pretty well.
Yep.
Then
I need a date, I think, for this one.
it's
no,
not
you don't.
required. Should it be required?
No, I don't
Okay.
think so. I think if it's not required, that was a decision to make it not be required, because otherwise it would be required.
Not know it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's.
So weird. That's close to where I
What's
live.
so weird?
I don't want to give my address out on YouTube.
This isn't my address.
Okay.
That's so weird.
Okay, good. Yeah.
That's a random address. I don't know whose address that is.
Okay.
It's a combination.
Okay.
And this is for the cover page. You also haven't changed this, right?
I would instead of the include at least one way, attorneys do have. Well, you've made the. I think that language is just erroneous. Include at least-
Okay. I see.
You're requiring two.
Yeah.
And you do.
Take this away.
Yeah.
Good catch, Kate. You're always there with the eagle eyes. My gosh.
Okay.
Kate, are you saying that attorneys have to provide 2 ways for the court to reach them?
I think it's in some of the COVID rules that we have to give an email now.
It's not just 2 ways. You need to give the specific things.
I was gonna say you might be required to give a fax. I'm looking at this completed one by me, which I did not put my fax on. So.
Okay.
I love the idea that you might be required to have a fax.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Okay, so then
this
here.
is what you're talking about. The certify, this box. Because it's split up into 3 different sections right now.
Oh, so it's not just 2. So we could just incorporate all 3 into 1.
At the beginning.
Yeah. Just do it once.
And the location at the beginning, we agree on that as well?
This is service, Kate. You want to put service in there too?
This isn't. This is.
Oh, this is the after the fact. You just do it. Yeah.
You don't have to do a separate thing of
Yeah.
certificate of service for this. You just have to like certify.
That
you
you've
have.
given your client the fact that you're going to do this. Okay.
Then.
Okay, this is because
Hey,
you,
would you, if you're do it all in one question, would you just bullet each one of those things? Not bullet the breakdown like we did before in the retainer, but just bullet. I've done the training. I've made the agreement with my client, and I've served this last screen. So basically, as an attorney, you realize that you're just checking one box, which is hitting 3 boxes on the form.
Yeah, that's how I would do it.
Okay.
did you get that?
Mia,
Mia?
did you follow
Yeah.
what I was saying there?
Yeah, you check one box and it's all 3 paragraphs. Yeah.
You're going to do 3 bullets on the screen. So the attorney using your interview recognizes that by answering one question, they're actually answering 3 questions on the form.
Okay.
So not boxes, just bullets, so that they get that you're certifying 3 things all at once.
Got it.
Okay.
Now you're saying something here. What's going on over the we?
I just saw this language. Should I change that? Or, I mean, it's not necessarily false, but we did say that they could.
How we're going to deal with this.
Yeah.
So I can show you guys later the flow for the multi-signature thing, which I think works probably fine. It goes something like, is your client here to sign? And then you say no, and then it says, how do you want to send this to your client, right? Is your client going to sign on this device? No. How do you want to send this to your client? Text or email? You put in the thing, and then that's it. That's how it works.
So that can be inserted into this.
But there can also be an option like, I don't want to send this to my client to sign or whatever, or I want to sign it physically or whatever, or leave the signature blank, whatever question we want to come up with. But I don't think it has to look like this. I think this is kind of, if I could show you all the flow I have, but I can try and describe it a little better if you want. And if you don't like that, then we can change it. But
I'm kind of envisaging it like a flow chart. Like you've got, client going to sign on this device or not, and then like if yes, if no, and then branches down like that, right?
Yep. So is the client going to sign on this device? Do you want to send it to them, text or email? And I guess after that, if you say no, or maybe there's I haven't done the flow for the question about like if you don't want them to sign at all. Right now I just have, are they going to sign on this device? And if no, which way do you want to send the link to them? Either by text or by email. And then you move on to signing it. And then if they are going to sign on the device, it also asks you for the signature that on the device.
Right. So at the moment, it's not like what Quentin was saying, that they might have a, in their system, they might be signing through DocuSign or might require a wet ink signature. So there needs to be like that third, is that what you're saying? There needs to be like another option. Like signing
that's up to you
Outtool.
all. I'm just saying the flow that I have, and you can add whatever you want to it. But the question is, does this flow need to change? And I'm suggesting, how about this flow that I've described and modified to whatever you need, or do you want to keep this flow, right? We're asking about the signature flow. So that is what I am trying to describe.
Yeah, I think that sounds like it. Yeah, I think that sounds like it would fit in this form.
David, Quentin, Caroline, all the people.
Sorry, I was negligent. Please
Sure.
assume 30 seconds of lost time.
Okay, so we're looking at the signature flow. This is the signature flow that is here right now that we're not sure we like, but whatever people think, I suggested an alternative flow, which is one that I have currently for the multi-user signature that I can describe to you if you missed that. It does not take into account just having the client not sign at all, and whatever way we want to add that to the flow, we can add that to the flow.
So I think there's probably an MVP discussion. Is that what was brought up? Or are we talking about an ideal workflow? Because I think
the ideal workflow could be created. I don't think it's that far off.
I don't think it's that far off, okay.
I mean, it depends. If you describe it, I'll let you know how far off it is, right? So the current flow that it has is your client signing on this device? If not, how do you want to send it to them? There is no current option for they're not going to be signing at all.
Okay.
Right?
And this is the description of the flow that you're working on.
That is the flow I'm working on, yes.
So how will they sign?
Using our tool, okay, with getting the signature, I guess. That would be my guess. If we're trying to decide what is MVP.
We can show them the preview before all the signature stuff, and then they get to print the preview if they want, which doesn't have any signatures. And then we could have the signature flow for everybody. And that way they're already getting signatures. I don't know, would they, is there a reason they would get a mixture of signatures? Like some people signing and some people not signing?
If they're gonna have to print it out for someone to sign, there's nothing that precludes them from signing it themselves.
Right.
So it seems like it would be safe to say, are both parties gonna do electronic signatures, or are both parties, basically the logic is either both parties are gonna do physical or electronic signatures.
I think on the preview screen, we can just say, if you're not going to do electronic signatures, print it here.
Yeah,
right?
I think that would be appropriate.
Yeah, especially for MVP, I think that's a nice fix. So preview screen, you add a print option if you're not doing.
What you're going to say is, rather than if you're not, are you going to do this?
Yeah.
Well, what I would say is that the button at the bottom of the page says, sign this now, right? And so if you move on, you know that instead of next, it says sign this now. And then you know you're going on to the signature. And if not, if you don't want to do that, you just get this document. You just print this document.
I think that's fine. I wouldn't change the button text, but I think having the text on the screen is a good idea.
Okay, so don't add a print option.
So you would just
say just click to open this and download this file. I think is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, do we want skipping a signature? Maybe is probably not too hard to do. So that might not be too bad to just add that screen. As David said, make it all or nothing.
But if you print it on the preview page, then you have no digital signatures, right? There's nothing that's going to be added to the form after this. So if you say, you know, if you want to sign yourself.
It's functionally the same. I'm just thinking about the user experience. You don't have to convince me that it's the same thing, same output. So you would just, on the last screen, it would be clear it's an ending screen. There's nothing more. There's no next button, right? Like having it say next, it could be using at the bottom of the screen.
Well, if it said, you know, I'm ready to sign it, then if you hit that, you're ready to sign it, right?
But it's still not clear it's the end of the process.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the idea of just like are you gonna do electronic or and have a clear end.
Okay.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
I'm just like rapidly writing everything.
No, that's fine. Fine.
The fastest thing is definitely just to add some text on the screen. And as Michelle said, it's the same thing. But if we can take that next step to make it clear on the end screen, we made an active choice not to sign it, but they have the final thing. I think that will be.
We can make this into a basic questions flow thing, right?
Let's save that question later. But yes, of course we can.
Okay. Later.
Yes, I think eventually two user flow, but.
Yeah, I just mean like this isn't going to get done now anyway, so it's all kind of theoretical.
It's not as theoretical as it might be.
Okay.
Since Mia's in the.
Since Mia's one of our continuing.
That's true.
Folks.
I just have a question. Should I keep this language as this, or should I change it to your signature or like something different?
Yes, I would say your signature because, as Michelle often points out, people don't often read that text, you know, below. Obviously, this would force them. So it just makes it clearer who's being requested to sign.
Yeah.
Because then what would happen is, I think maybe if you go next, is it then your client signature or something like that?
This does help though, that it has a name. Too.
Oh, that does help. Yeah, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, you will have preceded this question with a question about whether or not both parties are going to sign using digital or this. So that will have been primed.
Okay.
So in fact, actually in that question, you could say something like, this requires both of your signatures. How are you going to do it? Right.
In this one?
The previous
Not in
question.
this question. In the previous question, when we're doing that question to determine whether or not we're taking them down the printout.
Michelle's signature flow?
Yeah, the print or the digital, non-digital signature flow.
Oh, okay.
At that decision point, you're basically saying, we need both of your signatures. How are we going to do it?
Okay.
So I'm just saying that this language sort of moves there of you both need signatures.
Okay.
And I have to attend to a 6-year-old.
Okay. So then after this, I don't think there's a signature date on form. So this is if they wanted to like change the date of when they're signing, I guess.
And this is also, I think this is a good question. I don't know if Dave needs to be here, but do they need to be able to say the date if it's not today? Because right now the signature flow that I'm creating just dates it as today when they sign it.
Right.
And so the question is do people need to be able to pick a day other than today?
Especially if they're doing an electronic signature. Surely if they're doing a signature, then it's today, right?
Kate, do you have an opinion on that? Just because I remember asking you this question, and I ended up keeping this because you said we should give them the option of choosing the date.
I remember there was some
What was the question?
conversation about it. I just don't remember what it was.
Sorry, what was the question?
Mia, do you mind repeating the question for Kate?
Yeah, so do you have an opinion on the signature date, or like allowing the attorney to choose which, or like the user, I guess, or in this situation as attorney, but to choose which date they're signing if it's not today? Because I remember asking you when I was thinking about making it automatically today, and you said we should leave the option to.
I'd give them the choice.
Okay.
For an attorney, I don't know. It should be today, but like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, so.
Future date things.
I err on the side of giving people the flexibility they would have on paper, basically.
So do we
right?
want to?
These might have reasons.
Do we want to give the clients, like then in a multi-user signature flow, who do we give the option to choose the signature date? Is it the person who is receiving the link, or is the person who sent the link, or what? Like, how does that responsibility get?
I think the signature date is part of the signature, really, right? I think in the situation where you're sending it to somebody else to sign, who is not the person who's listed on the form as the main user, then I don't think we have to be flexible. I would say the user can choose one date for everybody. It's probably only one date that's going to appear on the form in most situations.
That's what I'm thinking is like, if there's 2 signatures, are they 2 signature dates?
I've never seen that before. Maybe on, like a mortgage filing or something like that, but not in a pleading, a motion where there's just happened to be 2 co-parties.
There are 2 date on this one. There are 2 different date
Okay.
boxes. There's one for each signature.
Oh, well, that makes sense because it's 2 different people that are anticipated to sign. But in the general multi-user flow,
Yeah.
then it's really like co-tenants. I mean, they don't have to really add their. I don't think it's important information there. I think it's the pleading that's dated usually in that case.
Yeah, I'm just thinking the court might. I think I agree with you philosophically about default to what they could do on paper. But I can't imagine the court getting touchy.
So what I'm asking is
Certainly not allow predating, right? We can say you can't.
Yeah, that I think would be
that seems like a very fair limit to have.
I think that would be the fair limit.
Mm-hmm.
I can say you can only choose dates in the future,
so
today or dates in the future.
Sure. I'm asking about so for the multi-signature flow, only the person in the initiating interview can choose a signature date, and that is the same date as they choose for themselves. So there is one signature date per form, and the user, the original user, is the person that chooses it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's fine, because I mean, that's the person who's ultimately taking responsibility for the pleading. The only situation in which you should legitimately change the date is like, I'm getting this ready, everyone's agreeing to it, I'm getting it ready, I'm going to file it in a week. And I don't want to put today's date, file it for a week.
Okay.
I mean, a week is even stretching it. Like I would say, I'll put tomorrow's date if it's after 5 p.m. I can't get it to the court today.
So should they be able to not put in a date at all if they want?
Only
if they're not
primary
signing.
user. Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah, if they're not signing.
But if they are signing now, they should be able to put in a future date.
Yeah.
Yes, and only
Any
today's date or a future
today
date.
or later. Yeah.
Right, not going back.
Okay.
I mean, we could just take this question out, but I'm thinking mostly this is helpful for people who print it and who want to do something with it later.
Right.
And
you're
this
right.
is
That's
not
what I
one of
was
the forms
thinking.
we can email to the court. So I think the use case for the digital signature is just you can't get in touch with someone physically. But most people, I think, will be printing.
I don't know if this is like MVP, but would it be beneficial to have like a box like leave signature date blank if the user is signing on here, and then or like the attorney's signing on like with our signature thing, and then printing to have the client sign at a later date, and then they can date it whenever they so choose in the future.
Well, they're all signing digitally, right?
Yeah, well, they're signing digitally, but they don't have to date digitally. Like you could just leave that blank.
Yeah, that's what I asked a second ago, and folks said that if they're signing digitally, they're dating digitally. I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood the answer to my question, or maybe I did not ask correctly. But am I misunderstanding?
Can I just ask
Let's
another?
focus on just what Mia's question
I
is.
might have missed
Yes,
that.
let's focus on Mia's question because that one was clear. All right, that sounds good.
I am not sure if I would see a benefit to leaving that blank if they are signing with our tool.
Okay.
But I hadn't even thought of this form. It does make sense for 2 different dates to be on there. So are those 2 different questions right now?
What do you mean?
The signature date for the attorney versus the signature date for the client?
I
think it's just one question, I think, isn't it?
Not on the form.
No, but in the interview.
We're talking about on the paper.
No.
When I looked at this, and of course I don't use the form, Kate uses the form. When I saw signature date, I thought whose signature date? That was my reaction to that was that. But I don't use the form, so maybe somebody who does use the form would not have a problem with that. But
the form asks for 2 different signature dates.
And one's clearly for the client and one's for the attorney.
Yeah, so we should, if we're going to do that, we should make this, either we ask for what date are you signing, what date is your client going to sign, or tell them that you're doing one date and do it. But I think just by having a signature date is confusing because you don't know you're asking for 2 signatures.
That's what I was going for, Caroline, that there's only one signature date, but there's, as Kate said, there's 2 signature places on the form.
It's funny how
what I'm thinking is that this one's titled in the ID date of attorney signature. Is there another signature, client signature date?
I don't think when the client signs, they got the option to.
So it's just automatically.
I would say there you could just put today's date, actually, right, for the signature, or at least the date they added a signature, which is trickier to calculate.
I mean, I have a flow for doing the signature when someone signs. That will do it only on the date they sign.
I think for the attorney, let them pick a date. For the client, have it be the date they actually add their signature. I think that's the ideal. It sounds like maybe Michelle has a way to make that happen. But if it's a big lift, different question. But
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think leave it blank. And I can't see a scenario where you leave the signature date blank, but you fill in the signature.
Okay. Yeah, that seems weird.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of representing to the court that, okay, I got their assent on this date. And that seems like it's a little different from the attorney saying, I'm going to wait a day or two to submit this.
So let's, maybe in MA virtual courts, we can like document this decision about multiple signatures and signature dates, like the kind of different aspects of this. Could you make a note of that, Maeve, or someone? And like I can make an issue later if someone has good notes about what this discussion concluded and kind of why.
So I don't have good notes on what it concluded or but we have it recorded. So can I just make a
Okay,
note?
yeah, I'll watch it later and
Yeah, and
make
just
it.
I'll timestamp it for you when I upload this, and then
Yep.
you can link directly to the conversation and then kind of distill what's come out of it. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, so I'll drop you that link when this is uploaded, okay?
Okay. And then we'll show everyone. Everyone can say you got it totally wrong, but that's fine. At least something will be there.
Okay, perfect.
I love the optimism, Michelle.
Yep. All the way.
So then the next is, wait, do I enter my cell phone number and just like block?
Wait, let me pause it. 1 second.
Oh.
Just people gonna.
Oh, well. Okay, so I got the signature page. I don't believe there's a date page. No, there was no.
No,
date.
it's not in the, I looked at your playground, at your code. There's nothing for a client signature. It just defaults, yeah, to the
This
same
is
date.
the final page, yeah.
Mhm. So something like this, do you want a DocX for this?
This is a DocX.
Oh, it is a DocX.
Yeah,
I think.
it is. Yeah.
Oh, didn't realize.
I
The
would like,
X's give it away.
The X's?
Because it's
Yeah,
spacing.
for the check boxes.
Oh, I see, gotcha.
the like lines that are on the form come back. Like
Sorry, where, Kate?
form has like lines.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
those come back.
sorry. Mia, do you want to scrolling up a little bit, please?
Sorry.
So they're saying here where the where the checkboxes are and dates are. Kate's
I'm
saying
being nitpicky. I just think it looks nicer.
with the lines.
We
there.
can-
Well, it's
can make
easier to
boxes.
read anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I don't know where the lines were originally. I didn't see this form originally. Did they separate these?
Well, you know what? Here's another example of where you don't need, if you don't need hearing ADR, other court event, you don't need any of those if it's just a motion for custody. And
Oh, I see.
Yeah, except that they are boxes that the
They're used to
court
seeing.
will-
This is
So-
a form the court can be really picky about for some reason. Like, I don't know if you remember, Caroline, I was saying how in the housing court, they require it to be on a very particular shade of orange.
Oh, yeah, that's like the financial statement.
What?
Yeah. So, oh, maybe
The
so.
color
Okay.
actually might be all that they care about. I think it's just so the judge can find it easily in the file. They might not care about changing the form as much.
Yeah.
I think the
I mean,
original-
I hadn't thought about it being a court form, so I was just yeah, so we probably should stick with theirs, but you know, it would be easier to read if the
lines.
X was right next to, you know, if they were
Yeah, so there's
spread out in this long line.
If you're trying to save a little vertical space, because I notice it's overflowing. I don't know if anyone else already said that, but I would say that a really safe place to remove some lines would be the court name. There's no reason to show the other courts because they're only filing this in one court.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, can you scroll down? This is missing the attorney. Weird. This doesn't look like the one.
Signature of attorney,
have.
BBO number, officer.
Okay. Yeah. No. It's just the spacing's just weird.
I think it's that all used to fit on one page, I think.
Oh,
Could it
So
be
this-
that it moved down because of the, all the possible motions, all the possible pleadings?
but also the
Just
court.
flipped.
The court
Like,
split.
yeah.
Court does look a little bit off. That first box, there's like an extra line for one of the
Maybe there
courts.
needs to be a little cleaning up of the raw.
Of the
Okay.
DocX file, the
So Mia,
template.
maybe what I can do is I can show
also-
you the original DocX. I can just drop you. I think it's on the Trello card.
I will say that probably the names, when there's so much room for them, it'd be fine to put them on the same line as their, or is that a thing the court wouldn't like?
What part of it are you looking
So
at?
case name / in the matter of John Doe could be on that same line. Plaintiff petitioner Sally Day could be on that same line. Like, so that they took up one line each instead of taking up 2 lines each? Are we thinking about how to make the form shorter?
I think unfortunately we want the form to generally appear the same, so that someone who's doing a visual check and is trained on a certain
Where
layout.
things are, yeah.
So think about the clerks as a really poor OCR system.
So I will not. I will not make any more comments about formatting. I trust you all.
So Mia, I'm going to look at the Trello card and see if I can find the original, and then perhaps you can just play around with it. Because I think, as they've pointed out, it's spilling out. It's overflowing onto another page.
Yeah, just try to get it closer to the real form.
Okay. And then so just to go like real quick review, this part. So you guys want, if they choose one, like obviously they're choosing one court, so just the other courts shouldn't appear, and then here like whichever motions or like whichever ones they don't choose shouldn't appear.
No, we're saying that everything should appear. We're just going to make it look like the form that Maeve is going to link.
We might play with some font sizes.
Yeah. I think we could definitely make it so that all of the court names fit on one line. That would save some room, right? Like, so probate and family, that line next to it doesn't really need to be there at all.
Right.
Okay, so
actually, another thing, yeah. Well, also probate and family, if it was a little wider, it would only take up 1 row as opposed to 2 rows.
And it only takes up 1 row on the real form.
Yeah, I think there's probably some of the font probably got changed somewhere. This was the one we had to recreate from. I remember, like, there was a question like, can't we just use the Rocket Lawyer or the
Turbo Law one?
And we didn't, because we wanted to make sure we had our own. So I'm probably responsible for this.
And it's much easier to read. The PDF is much easier to read than the DocX. So it has the check boxes right next to motion, hearing, ADR, other court event.
Oh, I see.
It's just needs some formatting.
Actually, we can get it to look like this, and then it should work just fine. Now I'm seeing it has a fair amount of room.
Yeah.
And the case name is a little bit easier to read too on the original form. I just opened up the one that.
Yeah, I bet something must have in all the motions about here or there, something must have changed with some of the underlying formatting.
Well, also when you do those underlines in DocX's, they're really tricky. I think they mess up the formatting.
Just a question. This might be documented somewhere, but it might be important if it isn't to document it. Can anyone remember why we went from the PDF to converting it into a DocX?
Kate says she's got hers is a DocX.
Oh, because the one
I think we didn't have a PDF at the time, actually.
Did we not?
No, because the one that's in the Trello, the one that's in the Trello is a PDF.
Oh, well, I don't know.
There was discussion about this, and for some reason, people thought it would be easier.
Yeah.
I remember there was one that was definitely should have been a DocX, but this was not the one I was rooting for to be a DocX.
My recollection was that there wasn't a PDF.
I mean, yeah, this says January 31st, 2019, so it's been around.
Let's look at, there's really no other, I guess, is the only thing that could overflow.
Yeah, but there's 2 lines
to limit people to just fitting it in.
Could docket number overflow as well, though?
Unlikely, but
there's tons of room for docket numbers.
Especially if you
what do we think trial court use only is for?
A stamp?
What usually goes there? Approved or denied or something?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking like I'm a Massachusetts lawyer. I don't know.
I'm looking at Kate. I don't know if you.
Oh,
anyway, we probably should leave it there, but I thought we could feel a little room from it, maybe, but maybe not.
Yeah, just their date stamp, I think.
Just the date. Okay, that makes sense. Probably we can't change the size of it then.
But isn't that a lot of room for a docket number if you separate them by comments? I mean, okay, if you have 10, but in general.
Well, also, seems like a lot of room for quartz. So you could like bring this over a little bit and have more room for like almost 2 on one line.
So on the PDF, the word court is, the font is much smaller than, oh, actually it looks like, yeah, I think either just use the PDF as a template or make the word match the PDF.
Yeah, it does seem like maybe it should just be the PDF.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure we said the exact opposite when we first looked at this and we're like, oh, we should be doing more stuff in DocX, and we have this as a DocX, and it's so much easier to work with. But this one's so formatted and use case.
Could that just be a GitHub issue?
Yeah.
You don't have to redo the whole thing.
They're all GitHub issues, Mia.
Yeah, it's all
All
GitHub issues all the way
we've
down.
said today are GitHub issues.
Oh, poor Mia, jeez.
We've only changed our mind about 5 things so far.
Yeah.
We keep the exact opposite advice.
At a fundamental level. Yeah.
There's like post-it notes all over my desk. Okay.
Oh man.
Is there anything else
A
that
good cushion for when you want to take a nap.
do you want? Is there anything else that we need to cover in this? Or is there enough? I mean, do you have action points to work on? I mean, the certification, sure, the signature, but yeah.
Yeah, I do.
I want to make sure that the work that you're doing, you feel comfortable with and not kind of like at sea.
No, I definitely have action
Well,
points.
I think issues is if you can make issues out of them, I think that's really also.
I definitely will do that. I'll do all issues before I start going through them. Anything else?
Super into that. Cool.
Nope, that's it for me.
Can't think of anything. I just want to say kudos to Derek for like his second stand-up, sitting through a
full-on demo.
Hopefully this has made some sense to you.
Oh, this is interesting.
you get a look at how the sausage gets made before you understand what all the sausage bits are. But you do have a simple background, so it's not entirely right.
Yeah, and I'm used to actually like filling these forms out a lot for a lot of the Lawyer for the Day table stuff that we do. So I'm very familiar with this one.
Oh, really? You could have chimed in as an expert there. You and Kate both.
I have the fillable PDFs if you guys don't have them.
Well, that's what I was saying. We apparently do have them, but for some reason we thought
we didn't use them.
Yeah, that's why it's important to document why we make these decisions. So, Derek, I've actually messaged you to set up a time to just chat. If you could just reply your availability in the Slack,
Sure.
that would be great.
Okay.
Okay, Amir, great job again. This is looking really good. Hopefully we'll be able to figure out the last balance of issues before we reach MVP.
For sure. Okay, awesome. I'll stop share.
And thank you guys, everybody, for sticking around, especially James as well. Kate, you look like you're just like, nope.